It's great to have you here tonight. And you just are the author of a book that just came out, February?
It hit the shelves in February. Our official launch date was March 10th.
Okay.
Time for National Siblings Day.
The name of the book is called Finding Mary Smith, and it's a memoir of family secrets.
Yes.
Now, I know the story
Sure.
pretty much, but you want to explain to our audience, at what age did you find out this information that changed your life?
At 52,
Okay.
I was an only child here on Long Island, basically raised here by folks. And at 52 years old, just towards the end of the pandemic, both my parents suffering from dementia, I got a call from my mom's oncologist. My mom also was suffering from cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Her fourth or fifth bout with it.
Okay.
And the oncologist called me up. She was trying to get family medical history from my mom. And my mom just kept hanging up on her. So initially I told her, hey, I have a live-in nurse, give her a call. Maybe she can, be an intermediary. And maybe 10 minutes later, I got a call back. Your mom's still intercepting the calls. She keeps hanging up on me. I said, all right, well, you need family medical history. Let me see what I can give you. And the oncologist, very nice, said to me, oh, no. I need your mom and dad's medical history, not yours, since, after all, you're adopted.
Oh.
and
that's how
I found out I was adopted. And I didn't believe it at first. At first, I thought this was the dementia talking. Mom had told a bunch of doctors a bunch of different things. Got pretty creative there. I sent a Facebook message to an aunt of mine, an elderly aunt in Staten Island. I said, hey, you're not going to believe what the dementia is saying now. This is kind of crazy. Maybe a day and a half later, I got an answer back. It was radio silence. I got an answer back that started with, I always wanted to tell you.
That was your aunt saying that?
Yeah, that was my aunt saying that. And with both folks, having dementia, they couldn't give me any answers. But yeah, I was adopted. And it was pretty traumatic on top of everything else that was going on.
So do you think your mom hanging up was not the dementia? She was hanging up because she didn't want to reveal that you were adopted? Or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
She was at that point, it was just,
right.
Dementia hits a bunch of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's one of the things about this book, different people have been contacting me for different reasons. And the dementia, even between my two parents, completely different symptoms. But with my mom, there was anger, there was paranoia, there was, So she just didn't want to talk to the doctor, for whatever reason.
A trust issue too, right?
Absolutely. 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
So yeah. And this was, about 3 weeks after I found out my dad passed away. So I was going through a whole lot all at once.
So your dad he died not knowing that you now know that you're.
Yeah, I didn't tell him.
Okay.
I figured
what's the point?
Right. You kept it from me for 50 years for whatever your reason was. No reason to create drama now. So that's kind of the starting point of the book, is me finding this out.
Right.
And it turns out there's a lot of folks out there who are finding out later in life.
Right.
They go and they get, Ancestry or
That's
23andMe as a gift to find, they're going, oh, I wonder if I'm related to Napoleon.
right.
And then they go, oh, my dad's not my dad.
Right.
There's no such thing as a closed adoption anymore.
Right.
So there are a lot of folks out there who
are finding out information thanks to technology.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So in a nutshell, this book is me dealing with that, me finding this out, and then my search for my birth family, and how I did it.
Did you know right away that when you found out you were adopted, you knew right away that you'd like to find out who your real mom is right away, or you were a little hesitant about that?
You being a comedian, you'll appreciate this.
Yeah.
Not only did I perform comedy, I've been teaching comedy forever. And one of the things that we always deal with, especially early on in the classes, is call it stage fright, call it imposter syndrome, whatever. That little voice in the back of your head that you have to deal with telling you you're not funny, you're not good enough. Negative. So doing comedy for 30-something years, I've gotten over that. I love to perform. I love being on stage.
And you're confident, and you have
Yes, I look forward to it. I see it as a gift to the audience that we're going to have a good time.
good connection.
Yeah. So I didn't have that voice anymore until I found this out. That voice came screaming back.
Oh wow! Yeah.
That voice was sitting there just in the middle of the night going, hey, you don't know your parents' names.
Yeah.
You know, that I would be sitting and watching television with my wife, and that voice would be there going, hey, you know what? The only blood relative you actually know is your son sitting in the other room.
Right.
And it was kind of in dealing with that I said, I have to find out where I come from. And if I'm being honest, in looking back, it may not have been the healthiest way to deal with things, but that's rather than processing and dealing with my emotions over my parents' health, losing my dad, and finding this out. It was, okay, detective work, me, in front of that computer at all hours, trying to find out where I came from.
Right.
And
something like this, it would never go away until you found out.
Exactly.
You just got to put an end to it.
Exactly.
If it's possible.
If it's possible. And lucky for me, technology being what it is.
Today,
Yeah.
Back in the day, you wouldn't find out.
No. As a matter of fact, usually I'll talk about that. This book, it's like everything that happened to me happened exactly when and how it was supposed to. It's the only way
the timing of everything.
Yeah, because had I found out 10 years earlier, the DNA information isn't there, the internet wasn't where it's needed to be. New York laws. We couldn't in New York. You
Privacy.
couldn't. Yeah, well, New York, you couldn't do the DNA tests up to just a few years ago. My wife always wanted to do it because her cousins had done it.
Right.
So, like when I would go to do a gig in Connecticut or Pennsylvania, she's like, "Hey, maybe we can drop off a thing there." Yeah, maybe, but we never did. It just so happens that New York kind of caught up to everybody else, and they also, during those couple of COVID years, they changed the laws about getting your pre-adoption birth certificate, because for years you couldn't get that either. So years prior, I never would have found anybody, and just a couple of years later, had I found out, some of the folks who gave me the very first clues that I needed had since passed away. Mm-hmm. So there was literally like this window of time when I could find out what I found out. And lucky for me, I did.
At that time.
Yeah.
So you're married 30 years.
Yes, sir.
And you have a son, Nick. How old is Nick?
Nick is now 22.
What were their reactions when you told them, "Hey, listen, I'm adopted"?
Yeah. By the way, just in chatting.
So Nick's grandparents are definitely not his grandparents.
Right. Biologically, they were.
Right.
And they lived Ray Romano style. They lived across the street.
Oh, did they really?
Yes. Come on, stop. We bought the house just before we got married. It was on sale. We went, let's do it. So we did it. How did they react? Well, we kind of joked about it over the years. Because my dad was a Wall Street guy. My mom is a stay-at-home mom, and neither of them had a great sense of humor. So, I looked like my parents.
I got you. So
enough.
Where did this come from? Your
my personality,
yes.
my hobbies. I just kind of chalked it up to a generational thing.
Right.
But like my mom, I go into it a lot in the book. My mom was always on top of me growing up to go, oh, you have your grandfather's eyes. Oh, your height comes from this one. Oh, you play drums? Yeah, well, Aunt so-and-so played piano, so that's where you get that from. Like,
she was making connections that weren't real, though.
Yes, but drilling it into me, and me being an only child, there was never someone else around to go,
confirm.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And all the people that she would give credit to were all dead. So there was never anyone that I could follow up with and go, right. Hey, did you actually do these? Yeah. So I never questioned all this. There's a line from the movie JFK,
right?
Where they say, "How do you know your daddy's your daddy? Because your mama told you so."
Right.
I never questioned any of these things, but on occasion we would joke, like they would say something or I would say something, and people go, "Man, I can't believe you're not adopted." And I'm sure like their blood ran cold at those moments, going, "He's onto us." But it never.
That must be tough for parents to keep that from their kid as well. I mean, your
I
mom and dad who raised you,
Yeah,
that has to be a tough task.
I don't know how they did it
Yeah.
because they couldn't keep a secret to save their lives. Like if they caught you like sitting and watching Planet of the Apes for the first time, my dad had been the first one to go, "Oh, by the way, yeah, that's Earth all the time. Monkey Planet. Okay, enjoy."
Right.
So I can only assume that this one big secret was taking up all their bandwidth,
Right.
and they couldn't keep any little secrets. I actually asked my wife to marry me like days earlier than I wanted to because my mom knew I had the ring, and she's going to spill the beans. I got to
Get it over with.
Yeah, let me get this
She
over
can't
with.
keep a secret.
At all.
Right.
And how we went to this is the other thing. My entire family knew. Other than me, everybody in my family knew I was adopted. So how we ever went to any family functions, how we went to weddings or bar mitzvahs or anything, and like getting towards the end of the night when people are good
Drinking,
and drunk,
yeah,
we'll stop by the table. By the way, those aren't your parents,
or even in a family argument, they could pull you aside.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
there were times in my life, looking back as I was analyzing all this, there were times in my life when we would have like close family friends or even family who would just vanish. That we would never we would visit them a few times a year and we would never go back. And it was never explained to me why. What I come to find out is if you were a part of the Isaacs family circle, if you wanted to get cut out of that circle, all you had to say to my family was,
tell him.
That's it. And
I think he should know.
I think he should know.
Yeah.
And once you did that, you were a threat because they were going, "Oh, they might tell him, even though we're not going to. They might think it's their right, so they're going to go and tell." So vanished.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
And now you know why they vanished.
Yeah.
So the book is called Finding Mary Smith. If you're just tuning in,
yeah.
Wow, it's Al Isaacs. I want to say you were living a lie, but do you feel like you were living a lie? He just found out at the age of 52 that he was adopted.
Yeah. Man.
Do you feel like your life was a lie? I mean, I don't think I would personally. I'm just not saying that's how you should feel, but I mean, that's just such a big.
It's a big thing. Let's put it this way: if things didn't turn out the way they did, would I be angry? Maybe. Mm-hmm. Am I angry at my parents now? No. I know how they were. Their generation,
totally different.
Totally different. We moved to Long Island when I was 3. Mm-hmm. So there was no one in the neighborhood who knew I was adopted. Gosh. Whereas when we lived in Brooklyn, people are going, "Hey, you weren't pregnant yesterday, but here's a baby. How did?" But no one in the neighborhood knew.
That ain't close.
So, this was their reality. This is in their minds, who knows? My big question is, I go into it in the book. After my dad passed away, maybe a month later, we had to find a facility for my mom. The dementia just got way too severe. And anyone going through it, man, my heart is with you.
Oh, I had my mom.
Yeah. So, man, I mean, there's so many different ways that this book is hitting people.
Yeah. Dementia is tough. So it explains the dementia your mom went through in the book.
Yeah. Both of them. And you're trying to do the right thing. I'm like a real analytical guy. I'm like, I want to do my homework. I want to have certain things in place. And that is such an insidious thing that it's like, from day to day, it's like, okay, I got to make a decision now.
Yeah.
Whether you're ready or not, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom, we had to find a facility for her. And as I'm getting her clothes and stuff for her after we've already taken her, I found my adoption papers.
Oh, really? So you would have found it anyway.
Right. But why did they keep them? If you're not telling me, why do you have these things squirreled away in the back of your closet? Why didn't you burn them? Why didn't you shred them? But there they were.
So it's possible they were going to tell you. But at 52, I mean, I think
you had your opportunities. Yeah. I don't know why they kept these papers.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but there they were.
Right.
The problem was, as I mentioned in the title of the book, it was a gray market adoption. So all the information on the adoption papers was falsified. It was additional lies.
Right.
This story, like every time I thought I had a handle on things, there was
Something to jab you even worse.
a new plot twist.
Yeah.
So yeah, the guy who handled my adoption was named Stanley Mickelman, and I literally I Googled him to see if I could find some paperwork because there were no names on the adoption papers. And the first thing comes up with Stanley Mickelman was that he was the biggest baby broker in New York in the 70s. There were court cases, there were books written about him. There was a movie in the 80s starring Linda Carter called Born to Be Sold, all about Mr. Mickelman.
And that's
the guy
he was
who
in charge of
he had.
your paperwork.
Yep. And my wife was the first one to go, this is weird. She's looking at the paperwork and she's going, this guy, this lawyer, is the lawyer for your parents, but he's also the lawyer for your birth mom. Great market. This way that no one's overseeing it. No one's checking stuff. You know, on the paperwork, it said my birth dad died before I was born. Well, the other side would go, well, what is there proof? Do you have it? But if you're the lawyer for both sides, yeah,
Sign off.
we're good.
Yeah, it's a cash deal.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah.
It's like the black market of selling.
Well, that's
great,
the thing.
great market.
Yeah, great market. Because black market is like, you got $200, I got a baby, let's
Yeah.
meet in the parking lot.
Right.
This was like
Legally done, but not legally
right.
done.
It on
Looks
paper looks good. Right, looks great. You know, we're going to go through the court and everything, but you know,
Everybody's getting paid a little here and there, and everybody's happy.
yeah. Well, this guy, what he would do, he had a whole network of doctors and nurses and whatnot looking out for girls who were in trouble. And my birth mom went to him at the age of, I think she was 19 when she went to him. And this nurse of hers went, oh, you know, hey, we have a woman who's looking to adopt a baby if you're interested. And there was no woman. She just worked for Mickelman. So Mickelman, you know, she contacted Mickelman. We have a baby. His office called, actually the office called my aunt because she had another cousin who had an adoption fall through.
Right.
And my aunt said, oh, I have another cousin who might want a baby. And it was like a month. They signed the papers in November. They had me December 20th. Ta-da! Convenient, not entirely legal.
I didn't. You just handed me the book tonight. I didn't get a
Sure.
chance to read the book. I'm definitely going to read the book.
Yeah.
And I asked you, can we reveal that
Absolutely.
you did find your mom? And
I
it says
did.
it right on the cover. That's
Right. I give it away.
So
Spoilers right out of the gate.
so
And
what was that reunion like? And you know, how did that happen?
Well, people, when I was shopping the book around, the publishers were going, wow, what a great name. Mary Smith for an anonymous woman.
That's her name.
That's her name. She had the most common name on the planet.
Yeah.
But it turns out
How many Mary Smiths are there when you're looking it up?
I put the statistics in there, thousands.
Yeah.
It just so happens that my Mary Smith was a famous folk singer at the time.
Oh, wow.
And she won what was essentially American Idol back in
At
the day.
that time, yeah.
Yeah, this is how I found her. Because there were write-ups. It's called Sound of Youth USA. In 1968, they had across the country this contest, and they'd have, you know, local, and then they'd have city, and then state, and then regional, and then in November of '68 they had the finals televised from WOR-TV here in New York,
Wow.
hosted by Duke Ellington, and she won the whole damn thing.
So your mom was on TV?
Yeah.
So you might have been in a room playing with trains or something, and your mom was on TV.
No, well, she was on TV in '68, so
68.
yeah. So I was born a year after that happened.
Okay, I got you.
But she won the contest. She won a
That explains the entertainment part of yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where'd that all come from?
Yeah. No, meeting her, my whole life suddenly made sense. Like just talking to her, we got each other. I mean, it was just like my whole life, you
It
know.
all made sense. Was it a phone call?
It started with an email. I found her through her guitar. It's a crazy story.
It's in the book?
It's in the book. It's a
Okay.
crazy story how I found her. I shouldn't have. I found a sister.
It was meant to be.
It was
Certain
meant to
things
be.
you know are meant to be.
Meant to be. And I'm sure it is very different for if you have an 18-year-old kid knock on your door and say, you're my mom, versus a 52-year-old
Who's settled?
who said, I have a family, I have a life,
You're not looking
I'm
for
not
nothing.
looking for anything.
Yeah.
And She and my sister said the same thing, which is kind of what the oncologist assumed I knew I was adopted. My sister and my birth mom assumed I knew and just didn't want to be found.
That stinks, right?
My
Yeah.
sister, Molly, love you, Molly, was looking for me for 20 years. She knew
She was
about me.
searching for you.
She was searching for me. But again, I didn't know I was adopted. There was no information for me out there. And my birth mom knew me as Albert Isaacs, my full name. Had she been looking for Al Isaacs, she would have seen some of the comedy stuff.
Right, on YouTube or whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But Al Isaacs, she didn't know to look for.
Oh, okay.
So, but long story short, finding her was amazing. And I flew out to England. She lives in England.
She lives in England.
Yes, because it's not enough that her name is Mary Smith. She can't be on this continent. Yeah, she moved to England in 2007. And
so this book begins with you finding out that you were adopted, or is it
yeah,
your childhood in here too as well?
there's a chapter. The way I wrote this book, I mean, I was writing it almost as therapy as I was doing it, and people kept going. I would tell them like the crazy thing that would happen, and they go, "My God, you got to write a book."
How long did it take you to write the book?
It took me a couple of years,
Yeah,
about
okay.
2.5 because, well, the hard thing with writing a memoir when you're still alive is you don't know where quite to end it.
Because the story goes on.
Yeah, I kept going. All right, this is good. I went out to visit them in England. I'm like, that's a good place to stop. And then like they would tell me another story, and then something else would happen. Oh well, that's got to go in the book. And then my sister had a beautiful baby girl. I'm like, well, that's got to go in the book. And then we planned for Mary to fly out to New York and spend a week with us here. And then we went to the city and we saw the places she used to perform. She was standing from the bitter end. It's like, oh well, that's got to go in the book.
Yeah.
So like we just kept like going and
keeping
going.
An open book.
Open book.
Yeah.
But it's like as I was writing it, I kept going. I can't write. I can't finish. I can't. No one's going to see this unless Mary is alive and well. And then when I found her, it's like okay. And she was the first one to go. Yeah, you got to put this out.
Yeah.
They couldn't have been greater about it. But there were just so many points in this book in my life that this could have completely gone sideways and not worked out the way that it did. And I'm just so lucky and fortunate and blessed.
Hearing the way you handle it, just talking about it the first time with you, I do believe that I'm not going to say comedy, but most people freak out. Like there's different personalities of men that I know.
Yeah.
And you're handling it this way. I do believe it's because of it's a comedy type thing. I can't because I'm that same way. You let a lot of things roll off you and you just deal with it. You want to find out the truth. And because anger is another way you could have went. Yeah. You could have got angry and you could have destroyed everything. You could have destroyed yourself, drinking, whatever.
Well, that part of it is I don't drink. I have never picked up, and it so happens that my birth dad had a real problem with drinking.
Okay.
And so for whatever reason, I just never did.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was one of the first things that we found out, with the adoption papers being wrong. He didn't die before I was born. He passed in 98.
Oh, wow.
Never had a chance to meet him. But yeah, the fact that I don't drink, the fact that I was a comedian, and the fact that I have the wife and son that I have.
It's a blessing.
Is a blessing because every time I would kind of step back and go, this is getting to be too much. They gave me the space, they gave me the support, and they gave me the backup because my wife would go, okay, let me carry the ball for a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do some stuff. It was actually my wife's sister who found my birth dad, who found the information about him. She found his obituary online.
Oh, wow.
And, it was at a point when I was like going to walk away from the whole project.
It's easy to walk away.
But is it? It's like for the moment. For the moment. But they're like, he needs a breath. Mm-hmm. This is too much. She found this obituary for this guy, and we're reading through it and going, okay, that might be. Yeah, it sounds like me. Okay, yeah, it kind of sounds like my son. And then we got to the bottom of the obituary, and I have a picture in there. There was a picture of my birth dad, Paul. And when I tell you it's a picture of my son.
Oh, wow.
It was like we took my son's high school yearbook picture, threw it in Photoshop, and made it black and white. And It's like, that's him. Like, wow, that's my birth dad. And that happened a few weeks after my dad passed away. So it was like in less than a month, I lost 2 dads.
Wow.
It was a
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah.
but also in the obituary, it mentioned that he had a daughter. So it was like, the roller coaster ride of emotions.
You ever wonder if you're being tested? Sometimes you think you're being tested by a higher power or something. Like,
Oh,
how is this?
Going,
this-
that's honestly,
Yeah.
that's why it's like I put in the title, The Miracle Reunion with my mom's like, I'm letting you know right out of the gate. Like, this has a happy ending. Because I'm not going to put you through this and make you think that this could go badly.
Yeah. It has a happy ending.
Yeah.
So the name of the book is Finding Mary Smith. And how can people find this book? You can look it up on the internet, obviously.
Yes.
Is it at Amazon?
It's at Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble. It's at a bunch of amazing independent bookstores are carrying it, and I'm so thrilled to find that, man. Growing up on Long Island, we used to have so many bookstores that went away, and I'm so happy that they're coming back.
I know.
And they are back.
They are coming back because I think people are getting crazy with their phones.
Yeah.
You have a couple events coming up. What do we have?
This Saturday, speaking of little bookstores, I'm going to be at Tiny Raccoon Books in Sayville,
Okay.
talking to folks, and I'm going to sign some copies. And then on the 22nd, so Wednesday night, I'm going to be at Theodore's Books in Oyster Bay. I'm doing a special event with fellow comedian Tom Kelly.
Tom's awesome.
Tom's awesome.
Yeah.
We did my book launch back in March, and we had such a great time
Yeah, I love
that we're like, let's do this again.
Yeah.
And so Theodore's Books on the 22nd, and that's going to be a full, if you have stories, if you're looking for folks, we're focusing on the genealogy and the DNA detective work. And some of the folks who helped me out are going to be stopping by to help other folks out.
That's
so,
awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
So, Al, thank you so much for being here today. And we ran out of time, but I'd
Oh.
love to have you back. I'd love to have you on another podcast. I have one that's an hour. You're so
Sure.
interesting. There's so many things to talk about. I want to talk more about improv and
Yeah.
teaching at Hofstra University. And
Sure.
you're a very talented gentleman
I appreciate that, Joey.
with
Thank
one
you.
heck of a story.
Thanks, man.
Al, thanks for coming down. WGBB, this is Joey Petroni.